are about to watch is true. It happened at Repap's Miramichi logging camp in the Mullen Stream area of New Brunswick. It is an unusual story about a mother bear and her 2 cubs who came every day for lunch at the logging camp. Now, for those of you who know the Miramichi woodsmen, you will know they are famous loggers. They are also well known for telling stories about the lumber woods, river drives, and spooky ghost stories about the Dungarvan Hooper and things like that. The Miramichi is a place where loggers make snowshoes out of moose antlers and sit on the banking in the spring awaiting the arrival of fiddleheads and Gaspereau. It is a famous river and has the best salmon fishing in the world. You will find this no ordinary bear story. It all happened at Operation 1 when Eldon Bro was cook at the logging camp. Eldon made friends with a cute little black bear that he named Jack. Jack was tiny when the cooks saw him first at the edge of the woods. Gradually, the little bear started to come closer each day and finally was eating out of the hands of the cooks and the loggers around the camp. Gradually, the cooks invited the small bear into the camp, where he sat every day at the kitchen table for lunch. It took some time, but after a few months, the young bear was toilet trained at the camp. The men all thought it was great. They knew boys were always smarter than girls and were easy to train. The young bear loved the bathtub and looked forward to a warm bath every day. Little Jack got pretty comfortable around the camp and was part of the everyday life at the camp all summer. Every day he came for lunch at exactly 11:30. The logs got cut and the trees got planted that year. Everyone was talking about the bear at Operation 1. Tree planters loved him and tractor drivers told the story everywhere. On September 29th, the young bear disappeared. Some said he was shot by a hunter. Some said he didn't like the cooking at the camp anymore and moved to a new camp. Gerard Peach was the camp clerk. He said, "I think the bear went to sleep for the winter. He went into hibernation." Some said September 29th seems too early for a bear to go to sleep for the winter. No one saw Jack again, and the snow came. The loggers continued the logging operations until late January. The snow was deep that winter, and the men thought of little Jack. He could be curled up sleeping under a big tree stump. The men watched for little holes in the snow as they ran their logging machines. Snowplows had a terrible time that winter because there was so much snow. The deer yards were full of deer. The loggers left the deer yarding areas to make sure the deer have a good place to spend cold winters. With enough logs for the sawmills and enough pulpwood for the pulp mills, the camp was closed at the end of February. The men all went home. No one ever thought they would see little Jack again. The mills ran all winter, making pulp and paper for customers around the world. In the spring, in early May, the camps were being readied as usual for the return of the woodsmen. There always is some cleaning and painting to get things in shape for the busy logging season. No sign of the bear yet, the men said. Maybe tomorrow. They knew that bears went into hibernation every winter. They didn't know when they awakened in the spring. As you probably know, there are no power lines in the Mullen Stream area of the Miramichi. It is 50 miles distance from Newcastle and in the deepest woods of New Brunswick. The electric light are run from a diesel generator. Toward the evening of the second night at the camp, one of the mechanics finally got the generator to come to life. The sound of the old generator was to bring an emotional arrival for those Miramichi woodsmen. The bear they named Jack was about to change his name. Within a half hour of hearing the noise of the diesel generator, who comes to the edge of the woods? Jack's name suddenly changed. The woodsman hollered, "Jack is not a boy, she's a girl. Her name must be Jackie." Jackie wasn't alone this time. She had with her 2 beautiful black furry cubs, each about a foot long. The mother instinctively left the cubs at the edge of the woods. She had to know that she trusted the loggers with her new babies. She approached the camp and returned several times to the baby cubs before making her move. Finally, she went to the edge of the woods and in some fashion talked to her twin cubs and indicated everything was okay. Jackie proudly took her cubs to the door of the cookhouse and introduced them to her old friends. Each day for a few weeks, Jackie always approached the camp alone, leaving her 2 little ones at the edge of the woods. She always wanted to check things out to make sure everything was safe and that there were no strangers around. The men grew to love Jackie and her 2 cubs they named Perry and Michelle. Every day, the 3 showed up for lunch at just exactly 11:30. The bears love pies and cakes, cookies and donuts, and have a very big appetite. The cost of groceries started to concern Merle Long, the foreman at the camp. The cooks were told that the bears must start helping around the camp if they were to keep on eating at the camp every day. Now, most Miramichiers are skeptical of bear stories until they check things out for themselves. It was a sight to see, those 3 bears carrying the groceries to the camp for the portage truck. They placed every box on the doorstep of the cookhouse for the cooks to pile away in the kitchen. Because Jackie was bigger and weighed about 350 pounds, she was strong. She carried the heavy pistons and machine parts to the garage to make it easy for the mechanics who repaired the logging equipment. Keeping the big feller forwarders producing was a big job for the mechanics. Visitors often came to visit the famous little bears at the cookhouse. Fishermen would stop and bring their children, sometimes for a piece of apple or raisin pie. Michelle was so popular that she was taken from the Woods operation to the Canada Days parade in Newcastle on July 1st. She was the star of the whole parade. One night, visitors came to the camp for a party. They brought lobster. Gerard Pete had worked for the company for 47 years. Everyone liked him. He was the camp clerk and was about to retire. The lobster party was for Gerard. A news reporter from the Miramichi Leader was a visitor that night too. She wanted to do an interview with the famous movie star, Jackie the Bear. She heard about this bear who even said grace before and after meals. After supper, everyone sat around and laughed about the stories at Operation 1. Alden, the cook, went to the edge of the woods and called for Jackie to come and do an interview with the famous reporter, Bonnie Sweeney. It was no time until the bears appeared, all posing for the camera and shaking hands with each of the visitors. The bears wanted lobster tails. They just loved lobster. Jackie did her interview with Bonnie, and after a demonstration drive on the tri-sport, took her twins and traveled quietly into the woods, stopping at the edge to take a rest. She carried a large box of goodies for an evening snack. The interview made Jackie the Bear a national hero. The story went across the country in a national business magazine. Some kids in a Dartmouth school heard the story about Jackie the Bear. The kids wanted to know more about the bear and wanted to know about logging camps in New Brunswick. The students even made a bear and named her Jackie after the New Brunswick bear. Their picture was in the yearbook of Prince Arthur Junior High with Jackie the Bear as the mascot of the school. Who would ever think that Jackie would go to school in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia? Jackie, Perry, and Michelle went into hibernation on September 29th. It was exactly the same date a year ago when Jackie went to sleep for the winter. Sure enough, the 3 bears returned again in the spring, just an hour after the generator started on May 6th. Now this story goes on. Perry and Michelle are off on their own. Maybe Michelle has babies of her own now. Jackie was seen with a big black papa bear last summer. She was away for the whole month of August. Jackie knows good cooking. Didn't she show up again this spring with 2 new beautiful cubs? The cooks are at it again, toilet training and giving baths to the new babies. When they get older, they too will have to work around the camp, just like any other Miramichi bear who expects to eat at a Miramichi logging camp. Around the Miramichi, everyone knows you have to earn your own keep and stand on your own 2 feet. Jackie and her 2 cubs started quite a story on the Miramichi. No one knows where it will end. No one believed our story at the start. Now Jackie is ready to go to work at the Repap paper mill. She has put in her application just a month ago and is waiting for her interview with our Human Resources Department.